Welcome to Club Damingo, brought to you by Cyclone Comics.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who's this sitting here in front of me?
Look at me. I'm in Australia. That never happened.
How cozy is that room?
Us cozy. I've had the heater. I've turned it off in case there's a buzz, but had the heater on, shut the door, nice and warm because it's winter here. You stupid Australians. Why can't you have summer like the Northern Hemisphere has?
Oh, damn. So did you survive the homeward trip okay? Was it fairly, besides being a bit of a lurgy that you're getting over? But as far as the travel notion of the whole thing, you got home safely and without problems?
Yeah, all good. It's an awful first world problem to whinge about, but it's long haul flights are not very much fun.
No.
But yes, we got through it, and at the end of it, you go, oh, okay, well that's over. Thank goodness for that. But it wasn't so bad. So yeah, all good. Got home, and the very next day we were home in the evening on the Monday, and I was lecturing 9 a.m. on the Tuesday.
That's right, you were.
And a full day lecturing.
Yeah,
so that was challenging. It was challenging, but I think I said to you and a couple of people, I think it slapped the leg right out of me. Got up at 6 a.m., went to work and talked for 6 hours, and that's right, jet lag, get out.
The jet lag exorcism. Yeah,
that's right. I cast you out, jet lag. And plus, I had one of the. I don't know what you call them, but one of the more senior people at JMC sit in on an hour's worth of my lecture on Tuesday morning. Thank goodness it was Tuesday morning, not Tuesday afternoon. The afternoon lecture was a lot harder. Tuesday morning it was fine, but the stuff is good. The lecture material is good, and the students are good, so it all kind of flows. So
right, that reminds me of my old high school history teacher, Mr. Rudge, who used to come in, and all the history textbooks would be out, and because I was quite an articulate reader, he'd just walk in with a newspaper under his arm. He'd go, Chaloner, pick up where we left off, chapter 7, start reading. So I had to stand up and start reading the history book. He sat behind his desk at the front, opened up the form guide, the race guide, and just started reading the newspaper and marking his choices until 45 minutes later when my throat's going, and then in 1876, thanks, Chaloner, you can sit down now. Ding, 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 ding. Everyone get out of here.
Wow.
That was my history lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, 70s and 80s high school in Australia. A lot of people have got similar stories. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it wasn't quite that bad. It was good. We actually ran through a lot of stuff. And Alistair Lockhart.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Sorry, Alistair. Yeah, I names are the worst thing when you put me on the spot. I could have known somebody for 30 years. Gary, whatever your name is, and
Greg,
Greg, and still not anyway. So yeah, Alistair Lockhart looked after my class for a couple of weeks while I was away as well. So good. That was cool.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So we're not going to talk about Europe. We're not going to talk about Malta.
No, let's not.
Talk about. We'll have to talk about something like Australian comics or something. Some silly subject.
What have you got for me?
Well, we ended last time.
What? Silence.
We ended last time. What's the word I can't remember? Mesmerite. Meditate. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Don't ask me to say the word meditate. I keep on forgetting.
Chaloner, can you pick up where we left off? Chaloner, pick up where you left off. I've got races to study.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Mr. Rudge was meditating at the front desk, the teacher's desk. Okay. Last time we ended with congratulating Gestalt Comics on their 20 years.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about that.
That was my main subject for today, to talk about Gestalt and their achievements over the last couple of decades.
Brilliant.
So what do you think? Yeah,
Rock
good,
on.
good stuff.
I think you should carry this one because I've actually published you on a number of occasions. I'm extremely glad that I've got that, was it 5 or 6 pages in one of the Tal Guards, so that I can say I've been published by Gestalt, because that's actually like a really nice thing to have on my CV. I reckon the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah,
Gestalt actually have published a few of my pages. I was so chuffed when they asked me to do one of those shorts. Great project. It's one of those projects that like I like. It's right up my alley. The fact that Gary Proudly is writing all of these shorts and then getting all these different people to write them, and then who was doing all the coloring and lettering?
Justin
I
Randall
guess,
and Justin.
and
Yeah,
Wolfgang, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Wolfgang.
yeah. So Justin doing all of the coloring to help give it some kind of consistency. I love that kind of project. So 2 volumes of Talgard, and I was
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
one that
yeah,
you were in. So that
yeah,
was also a really
yeah.
exciting thing.
And I think, not that I have any inside track, but I think there's more volumes coming of Talgard.
Oh,
Uh,
that'd be awesome.
yeah,
Deserves
yeah,
it.
yeah. And so, I've got the wiki page, the Gestalt Publishing wiki page here that has a list of books to sort of tweak my memory of things that we can comment as we go through. It's not in chronological order; it's just randomly updated. But going through here, they've done some wonderful stuff over the last couple of decades. Like I remember back in the early days, they first started with things like character sketches, which was an anthology of short stories, and vowels. Now,
Yeah.
Gestalt was started by Wolfgang Bilsma and Sky Ogden, both WA boys. And Vowels was Sky's first graphic novel that was published by Gestalt, one of the first projects. There was character sketches, there was Vowels, and there was The Example, which was Tom Taylor and Colin Wilson doing the short story, which I
Yeah.
think was adapted from one of Tom's plays, I think, if I remember correctly. And that's what put Gestalt on the map, those projects.
That's right. That's my memory.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
were the
No,
early ones.
and really very much helped Tom and Colin Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah, helped both of them extremely. I think as well. It was like, all right, now we're onto something here. The two of them were saying as well. So that partnership between the two of them,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
And then the other project of note in the early days was Rombies. I don't know whether you remember that or not. That was
I do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And all projects that really should be kept in print because they were wonderful. They were wonderful things. I was going to say little things, but they weren't little things. They were big ideas. But
Yeah, and that was Wolf. No, that was Tom Taylor and Sky Ogden, right? Rombies.
I know Sky did a lot of the art, and I don't have any of them in
Yeah,
front of me, but I think it
definitely
was.
Tom Taylor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. And then Tom Taylor teamed up with James Brower and started The Deep.
that's right.
And that was another huge project that went on to inspire, or they adapted into the animated ABC series and things like that. So it went on from strength to strength.
Yes.
And the other big project that is, just looking at some of the stuff that they publish here, the Deep, Changing Ways, 3 volumes of Justin Randall's amazing
Yeah.
horror. Would you call it a horror story?
Yeah.
Fantasy,
Definitely.
horror,
Yeah.
sci-fi? But
Yeah.
yeah,
All of those things.
and I noticed here that Changing Ways has got book 1, book 2, and book 3 is marked as a chapter 1. So maybe book 3 has more coming from it. I'm not sure. But anyway, very high standard of work there. The Deep, Torn, Nicholas Scott, and again, I'm hopeless with names. Who wrote Torn? Anyway.
What that was again a number of different people did the art on that, but
That's right. Yeah. What else? Scrolling down here, there's all out of timing sequence here. But Neomad is another project that ended up getting a gold ledger.
Very important. Very important.
Vowels, Eldritch Kid. They've done some. They repackaged Whiskey and Hate by Christian Reed, and I forget what the artist was, who the artist was there. But Bone War was an original project, Eldritch Kid Bone War, that was written by Christian, drawn by Paul Mason, and coloured by Justin Randall, and that was a pretty hot team. That was
yeah. What wasn't the earlier stories by Abstruse? Was that by Paul Abstruse?
Could be.
Anyway, could be.
Yeah. Then there were some projects that I did for Gestalt.
Was it Andrew Constant, the name that we were
for
earlier for Torn?
For Torn, yes, could be
Torn.
Yep.
Yeah, Andrew Constant, pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep. And some of the projects that I've done,
dear listeners, you can see the level of our research, right? Non-existent.
There is no homework and no research. I have, as I said, I've got the wiki page open here, which I notice hasn't got the Undertaker Morton Stone listed on some of their books. So that's because I got.
Yes, very good. I was just on Facebook while you were talking. If people are wondering why I was looking down, trying to see, because there was a graphic recently that kind of outlined some of the major projects, and I was just going to check that to see if there was any that were missing. But yes, Morton Stone, Undertaker, absolutely.
Yeah, with artwork by Ashley Wood and Ben Templesmith and myself. So there's that one.
Huge. And love that book.
Yep. And
Proud Heart.
Proud Heart, again, Gary Proudly and Gary Chaloner. You can't have too many Garys in comics. We need more of them.
Too many Garys is never enough.
Yeah, but who would name their baby Gary? Really? I mean,
I don't know.
Anyway, Proud Heart. That was a real challenge, and I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the way that turned out. So, yeah. So Proud Heart.
Beautiful piece of work.
And another one that I actually worked on was the Unmasked.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I did. There was a 4-issue series, and I did the last issues 3 and 4, and Emily Smith did the first 2, and Christian Reed wrote the whole thing. And that's the closest thing that Gestalt gets to doing superhero comics, is doing supervillain comics, because their corporate sort of mandate was not to publish superheroics. So things like The Deep, which is a family adventure comic, and things like Unmasked, which was concentrating on the bad guys, is about as close as they sail to traditional superheroics. So their catalogue of material is very eclectic right across the board. Things like do you remember the Wall City books, His Dream of Skyland and Nocturne? They were huge, great big, oversized, thick volumes that they produced fairly early in their 20 years as well, which was amazing.
Oh, yeah. I remember those.
Oh my God. Stunning, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big swing, right? When they were doing those, huge undertaking. Very beautiful.
I've got them in there. I'm half inclined on grabbing one, but they're so big and bulky and dead air. So anyway, but so the Wall City couple of books, I'm not sure whether there was supposed to be a third book in that series, but they did 2 wonderful editions there. They did a little A5 Flinch anthology that was quite good, that had Short Tan and a whole swag of other people in that edition as well. Kulan, they've done an edition of, Katie Ward, Horton Ward, his artwork. Talgard, Tome 1 and Tome 2. Recently, they released Flock Book 1, Warbird by Paul Mason, which was a wonderful edition. That was in the European album size, oversized European album. And he's working on further editions of that as well. So that's fantastic. And just highlights, in my opinion, here from the Proud Heart, The Example, Rombies, Plato's Allegory of the Cave. They've done that, which was in food love, food comic as well. This list isn't the ultimate latest because it has Undertaker left off, but they've published some fiction. The Lark Case Files, and Christian Reed wrote a few novels, Black City and Devil City, that were received quite well. So they've tried a lot of different things, and they're as I say, they're quite an eclectic backlist, and they're still going strong, going towards they did the Clever Man comics as well, and then they've helped launch the Indigiverse with the Dark Heart and what's the other one, Dreamwalker, and that's where they're sort of concentrating on recently. But I know for a fact that Flock 2 is being worked on at the moment by Paul Mason. So it's not just Indigiverse; they are doing other things as well. So again, a big congratulations for 20 years. If you were to look through, go to their website and have a look at their back catalogue. It's an amazing representation of creativity that isn't superheroics. It's everything else but, and it's quite astounding that an Australian publisher can go for that long, be consistently releasing material at such a high standard. And I'll put that down not only to the individual creators, but the taste and professionalism of Wolfgang, who not only selects these things 9 times out of 10, but he also edits and finishes them off and letters the projects as well. So he's the backbone of the way that the line looks and feels and its strength. So congratulations to Gestalt, I say, for 20 more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very important part and place in Australian comics history. And I don't know how many people actually realize that they usually have a pretty good presence at most of the large conventions and most of the festivals. So that you need to, if you've never picked up their work, you need to kind of have a wander along. You don't have to buy everything that they've got, but wander along and have a look and see what takes your fancy.
And you can be sure that the production standards are very high. If the content itself isn't to your taste, at least you're getting high quality product, and you should dip into their back catalogue and see what you get. There's a lot of stuff
when you just
enjoy.
As you outlined there, the back catalogue, you'd be hard pressed not to find something that would be to your taste somewhere along the line there. Yeah. So absolutely, huge congratulations to Wolfgang. It's not an easy road to travel for Wolf and team. It's like it's really difficult to keep that going over 20 years.
Yes.
So well done.
And
there's a documentary as well on.
I was about to say, Sky spent a lot of time in Japan, but there were also the comic book heroes, I think it was called. Where
that's right.
Their trip over to San Diego and the travails of getting books printed and published and shipped over there in time, and the fun of going to a San Diego convention as an Australian publisher. It's well worth tracking that down as well for a fun watch. Although it does make you a bit anxious sometimes, because the anxiety and the shit that those guys went through at that convention just brings it all back for when I used to go to trade shows and conventions in the past. And it's a similar thing, but for San Diego, it was just ramped up to 1,000%.
Yeah. It's well worth watching that. Like you said, I think it's called Comic Book Heroes. Hopefully still on iView. Again, do your own research, guys. Far out. Don't expect us to do everything.
Exactly. and apologies if we've got any creators' names wrong and attributions wrong,
or left them out.
Projects. But like go to the Gestalt website and have a look at their back catalogue. They've got a great website with a great search function, and I think you can't go wrong with a lot of their stuff. Very entertaining. God, Waldo's Hawaiian Holiday, that was an early one as well.
Far out, yeah.
And they do little one shots like Believe and Midas and Fly, which are ones that I haven't read, but I've seen them floating around as floppies. So they try all different kinds of formats as well. So
they did Digested. Did you mention that? They did Digested.
Digested was one of my favourites, of course.
Yeah, Bobby Nenendovich's book. Oh my God, one of the best Australian cartoonists, comic book artists, one of the best comics.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish Bobby would do more work, more comic work. Not more work. I'm sure he's doing heaps of work, but more comics.
That Digested needs to be collected and it needs to be continued. But one of the that was a great book. That was fantastic. Yeah. So people
that was
do
a
your own homework.
Little square one-person anthology, which is a great thing to do when you've got a cartoonist of that strength that Bobby had to just do an anthology of what he's pumping out.
He was a great graphic designer as well, and he had a great art style, and the package just looked fantastic. Fantastic. Pressed all my buttons, it rang all my bells. It was.
So congratulations, happy birthday to Gestalt, to Wolf, and to Sky. Rock on, 20 more. Let's get it done.
Yep. And I think it's worthwhile just mentioning.
You've gone quiet. I can't hear a word you're saying.
What about now? Is that better? Okay. So the only thing that I wanted to say to finish off the chat about Gestalt is hats off to Gary Proudley, who has served as an editor and proofreader and production guy in the background, besides his front door writing for a great amount of projects for them as well. So I think he plays a very important part in support for Wolfgang in particular. So hats off to Gary as well, and always good to see his future projects coming off the shelf. What was the giant?
Gary's often. I was just going to say Gary's often the one who's taking Gestalt on the road to the East Coast conventions as well. You often see him in Sydney and obviously Melbourne and the giant one, the giant orangutan.
Yeah, Kraken versus.
I think. He
ancient
was
orangutan. Yeah. Apparently, there's more of that coming as well. So,
uh, of course, why should there be? You can't have too many giant monsters fighting each other.
yeah, that's right. I bet you he woke up in a cold sweat going, I've got an idea for a comic.
I've got to write it down.
This is this. And Wolfgang's there
Absolutely.
going, okay, okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes,
So,
fabulous.
yeah, that's all I got. A big huzzah for Gestalt. Now, you mentioned to me that you wanted to get my thoughts on a few things.
Now we're going to talk about that later.
Oh, are
We're
we?
talking about giant monsters right now, so we're going to move on to this.
Oh,
Attack of the Colossal Creatures from Planet X.
wow. What is that? Featuring 21
Yeah.
titanic tales of skyscraper-sized beasties. That's appropriate, coming after the Kraken.
Yeah, what good timing. You'd think we actually planned out the show. Believe me, dear listener, that is not how this happens. So this is coming from Speculate Publishing. There's the logo in the bottom corner there. Speculate Publishing, which is I'm talking off the top of my head. I don't know these things for sure, but like a cooperative sci-fi kind of group who write sci-fi prose, right?
Right.
Prose. What the hell are you showing me prose for, McEwen? Um, and they release these anthologies every so often. And I saw that they put the call out for Attack of the Colossal Creatures from Planet X and said, "Do you guys want comics? Because I've got an old comic that you might be interested in." I can never get the mirroring right. So this is an old Greener Pastures comic, published in Greener Pastures Extravaganza #1, which was a very cynical project where we were just seeing if we could make sales out of a quick anthology. So it was a three story anthology. I drew one of them, and we got two other people to draw two of them. But in this particular short story, Greener Pastures' Trevor Bovis daydreams about becoming like a Godzilla-sized monster
Right.
on his arrival into Sydney. So it was a bit of a commentary on, like, it's called Urban Squall, as you can see.
Yeah.
A bit of a commentary on coming to the big city from a little country town and how that feels. And we also had, Michael Michaelandos wrote it. We also had one of Issue 1 Comics' stable of artists. So Issue 1, who was doing Zero Assassin, Cyber Swine, etc. They had Kazuhiro Matsumura, was doing some Zero Assassin stuff, like in an over-the-top manga detailed style, and Kazuhiro had seen our Greener Pastures and said, "I want to draw some of your stuff." And I said, "Well, we've got an anthology coming up. Do you want to do a short story?" He said, "Yes." Michael said, "What would Kaz like to draw?" And Kaz says, "I like giant monsters and I like cityscapes." So Michael went, "Oh, let's do a Godzilla type thing."
Right.
So that was in the 90s. And I said to Speculate Publishing, "Do you want to republish that?" And they said, "That looks cool, so we'll do that."
Cool.
So that's kind of out now-ish. If you look up Speculate, see how it's got an 8 at the bottom, but maybe I'll send you a link if you want to try to put the link in the show notes.
What?
And people can buy that, which would be cool to support the a very, as always, grassrootsy sort of thing. Very much a grassroots publishing effort there, and a bunch of short prose stories. But it doesn't end there. It is. It absolutely is fun. The comic book associations don't stop there, because on page, what page is it? On page 30, we have a story called Never Getting Out by Hamish Rankine. From the famous Rankine family, headed by Dean Rankine. So Hamish has got his first published work here. So if nothing else, support it for that reason. Hamish is a top bloke or top person, and
despite his
hung out. Despite the upbringing he's gotten from his father, I'm sure it's all coming from the mother. But I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Hamish a number of times, top person. So I'm glad that they've got some work published here as well. Very privileged to be in the same publication as Hamish.
Right.
So two reasons to pick that up. It's probably only available online,
Yep.
viable
Yep.
online. I don't know what kind of conventions Speculate do. It'd probably be the smaller comic sci-fi sort of conventions. So yeah, go to www.specule8 with the numeral 8.com.au. So that's SPECUL8.com.au and buy some copies of that for you and your friends.
Excellent. Okay. That's
So that
good.
was a good segue.
Yeah, very good segue. Yeah, what else you got?
I'm on Big Tim Stiles' email lists. And
Yes.
one of the things Big Tim Stiles, who's a Canberra comic book creator, he can draw, but he doesn't draw very often.
I thought you were going to say he doesn't draw very well.
Well, that's up to you to decide, you awful person, Gary. Gosh, how dare you say that when Tim's not here to defend himself? But
he doesn't draw that often.
He writes a lot of stuff, and he writes plays and short films. He's an actor, but his comic book work, the thing he's most well known for is Gorilla My Dreams, which is a very cool kind of play on words more than the pun. That really only works when you say
it. Gorilla My Dreams.
Read it. Yeah, but when you say Gorilla My Dreams, right, about a talking gorilla who wants to be and is a superhero. Quick aside, there is a Gorilla My Dreams Greener Pastures crossover that is awesome. That
yeah,
Tim
of course
has written.
there is.
So we're hoping that he can grab one of his stable of really cool artists to draw that for upcoming Greener Pastures publication. But Tim, in one of his recent newsletters, attached a PDF of a pitch to turn Gorilla My Dreams into a TV show or a movie. And that was a really interesting thing to see, that he's just sharing that with everybody at this point, the pitch document, everything except the spoilers for the long-term storyline.
Right.
So he redacted that, but everything else is in there. So yeah, interesting. And he's also done it for Mastiff, which is a horror comic that he did.
Right.
So Gorilla My Dreams is much more lighthearted as well, a bit like myself. Much more lighthearted and pokes fun at the superhero genre, but Mastiff is a lot more heavy horror stuff. So two of those, if you're interested at how he's going to do it, how that pitching works, and he's taking that to MIF, the Melbourne International Film Festival, because MIF have got like a round, no, not a round table, what do you call that, fast dating sort of thing, speed dating sort of scenario where you can go and pitch anything you like to industry people. And I know that Sean from Comics to Movies, I think he's done it in the past. If he hasn't done it in the past, he's ready to do it at any moment now, his comics for that as well. So just interesting that I'm not the only person who's thinking about trying to monetize our creative work so that we can some way, there's and Tim as well trying to do similar things. And they're not the only people as well. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got a Kickstarter happening at the moment, and part of the money from the Kickstarter will go to helping him pay for travel from Canberra to MIF to try to pitch.
Yeah,
so,
which is not a lot. It's not a lot, but it's important to get him there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed and good luck. And if you can hunt that down and support him, that'd be a good move, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're talking like interstate sort of things, I found it really interesting that weekend just passed, and I know that this goes up on maybe a Thursday, but we're chatting on the Monday. Weekend passed, we had Fraser Pop on the Fraser Coast in Queensland. We had the Central Coast Zine Fair for the first time, inaugural Coast Zine Fair here in New South Wales, and Geek Markets in Canberra, all on at the same time. So there's always ways to support your local comic book people.
Yeah,
Fraser Pop had a number of really great comic book people. Central Coast Zine Fair, I don't know who was there. You know, it's always the kind of zine-y, more kind of grassroots sort of stuff. But Geek Markets, again, showed their true colors by very much supporting a good 8, I think, comic book people there as well.
Have you had any feedback from anyone that attended? I get the impression, not that I've looked into it in a big way, that it was pretty huge. The Geek Markets in Canberra was probably the biggest.
Yeah, I saw a news report that said that it was their biggest ever, because it's a free event.
Yeah.
So biggest one in Canberra so far. And I haven't really been on the internet much this last few days. So, but I saw that Marcelo had a great time. So but they all looked like they had a great time. So
I saw a picture of Dean Rankin and Marcelo together. Yeah,
Dean was there. Dean came up from Melbourne for that one. So
you know his son.
I do. I'm lucky enough to be published in the same publication.
That's right.
as Hamish. Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. That weekend passed, and there was also PCAF was on recently as well, and that was a great success from what I've heard. Also,
a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah, a couple of weekends ago. Yeah,
huge FOMO from me. It looked amazing as always.
Yeah.
And it's growing in a really. And this is totally from an outsider. I don't know anything about anything that's going on there, but looking at some of the social media posts that were coming from attendees, PCAF is growing in a really good organic way. There were promotional aspects of it outside of the normal comic book realm, as in there were, I don't know if it was billboards, but there were like big postery things or big marketing aspects all over Canberra, which is all over Perth, which is really great. So this is what we need. We need normal people to come in to the comic book fold so that we can hit them over the head with a big rolled up comic book and say,
that's right.
There you go, on your way.
Yeah.
The more, and this is again as a free event, it's so much easier to get. I wish there was a better way to talk about them than saying normal people. I'm sure there's other people. Somebody else has got a better term for it. But we need the normal people to come into the events and walk out as one of us.
Thinking from a creator's side, it would be great if PCAF could align with Paper Cuts, could align with another one on the East Coast that can be created, and you can have a convention circuit for creators to be able to hit East Coast, Central Australia, West Coast, and over a season. So you can actually organise tours and go from one to the other and have that promotional push.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to have that festival circuit. If you wanted to, I mean, this is why I said that last weekend, the weekend just passed, there were already 3 events you could have gone to. It's not hard as a comic book person to go to an event every weekend, and I would say it's almost every weekend. I think there's only like maybe a few weekends in December and January where there's not something on that you could be going to. But if you consolidated those festivals, Scamp is the in full disclosure, I'm Samuel, my son, is on the board there, but Scamp is the East Coast horse running in that race, trying to be an East Coast PCAF and Paper Cuts. And what can we? I'm just going to expand on that as well. I've just brought up a graphic on my other screen so I can remember all of these things. It's almost like research. Unfortunately, on the same extended weekend as Paper Cuts this year, but fortunate for Melbourne people, there's actually a really interesting event happening in Melbourne this year called Comics Off the Page. And I only just learned about this the other day, so you probably haven't heard of this one yet, Gary. So this is called Comics Off the Page, and it incorporates workshops, live readings, and an exhibition. And it looks like it's very much being the Melbourne comic arts group of Glom Press and Pink Ember Studio, because I think there's a big overlap there between the people involved with Glom and Pink Ember, which is a great thing. We need these consolidations to help spread the load around, but also being supported by RMIT University, Nonfiction Lab, and the Emerging Writers Festival. And again, the more often we can get writers festivals on board, the better. And it doesn't say this on the little poster I've got here. Oh, and Creative Australia, and Creative Australia.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea here, and I'm going to have to work from memory, is that it's got a much more academic bent to it than most of these kind of events. In that all of the people who are doing the workshops, the readings, or the exhibition are either comics creators who are doing some academic work, like PhDs or masters or whatever, and doing the study, interested in comic, how they work, or the history, or etc. Or it's an academic who may not necessarily be a comics creator, but an academic who is using comics as part of their academic work.
Right.
So that academic crossover. So just to quickly, because there's a few names here, Bruce Mutard, Bernard Callio, Leonie Briley, Eloise Grills, Emily Marsh, Ramina Yee, Aaron Billings, Martin Huang, Susan Soleimani, Jenny Headley, Caitlin McGregor, Nicola Bryant, Benedict O'Leary Rutherford, and Gideon Hutapaya. So they're the names on the poster, curated by Ronnie Scott and Melody Ellis. So it's a pretty big, far-reaching thing. It's almost something that I would travel to Melbourne specifically for if it wasn't for the fact I was already traveling to Paper Cuts that weekend.
Is this a 2-day event or just a 1 day?
13th to the 17th.
Oh, wow.
So it's a multi-day event.
Yeah.
So yeah, as an outsider, as a creative who's not involved with this, like I do kind of shrug my shoulders and go, why didn't you put it on the weekend before or after? Especially when Melbourne and Adelaide are actually drivable to each other.
Yeah.
Why that is the case. But that's what they're doing. And it looks like the 13th is the day for the workshops. September 17th is the day for the exhibition opening and the live reading, which they're calling Speaking to Pictures. So maybe it's kind of like come to the workshops, go to Adelaide, come back for the exhibition. I don't know.
Yeah,
Could have been done on preceding or following weekend.
Yeah.
All of these things are great. It's a great little poster. Done by who was it done by again? Ramina. I think it was done by Ramina Yee.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's in September. Same weekend.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but I wish them well.
It's a great thing. Great thing.
Yeah. And then in October we've got the ACA's weekend as well for the Stanley Awards, and that weekend of activities down here in Hobart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I'm going to have to start planning for because everyone's coming down here, and I'm going to have to cook someone dinner, don't I?
You keep on saying you don't want to be organising anything, just because it's in your.
Also, oh God, I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to have to.
I didn't want to say that when you kept on saying I'm not going to organise anything just because it's in Hobart doesn't mean it's my.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'll at least light a bonfire, and if someone wants to come along and throw a sausage over the fire, they can do that. But you're coming down, aren't you?
I think I will. Yeah. It might depend on what's organised. If there's something organised that's worth coming for, because I can come and visit you anytime, Gary. I can come to Hobart anytime. So
how many times have you done that?
Once? Is it once?
Once.
Twice?
Yeah.
Twice maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's heaps of comic book people down there. We should definitely put them all in one space at one time.
To be totally honest, I'm putting the thinking cap on now, seeing as how it's the end of July, and time is going to go fast. And I'll get in touch with the ACA people, see what can be organised, and see if I put my organising hat on. They might have everything sussed. They might not need my help in any way, shape, or form. So it might defer back to me being a social butterfly and whatever. So we shall see.
Yeah.
But anyway, the ACA event in October down in Hobart for the first time, that'll be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Fun.
Being in Hobart, it'd be nice if it had a Hobart or Tasmanian flavor or aspect to it, so that the Tasmanian cartoonists can shine a little bit. So
You'd like to
yeah,
think they're thinking along that way.
yeah,
So we shall see. Yeah. I got in touch with them
yeah.
about doing a Cyclone 40th panel to talk about comics and things like that. So they've penciled in some interest there. So we'll see what happens and as things firm up.
Yeah. Again, very important aspect of cartooning and comics history in this country. So yeah, it'd be good if that was presented there.
Yeah, yeah. What else we got? Did you want to chat about?
How long have we been yammering on for, Gary?
Just over an hour.
Well, maybe we'll leave it at that. The other thing that I'm talking about is
we can do that off air, or do you want to leave it till on air for next week?
I'll leave it for on air next week, I reckon. I'd rather just get you like springing it on me what your thoughts are on this crazy idea I had, everybody. Yeah, I think talking more about me can wait till next week.
Sounds good. Okay, well, why don't we say goodbye to everyone for this time round? And I've got a bit of editing to do because we had a couple of crashes, although the editing will be seamless and you won't be able to tell where it all went wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
People will be watching the whole thing going, that's where it went wrong. Oh, no, that's where there's so many places it could have gone wrong.
The first episode, the first minute of the first episode, that's where it went wrong.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Back in 1988, that's where it went wrong.
Okay, I'm going to stop.
Okay. I'm just looking around to see if there's anything I thought that would be worth talking about. I don't think so. That'll do you.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to keep on talking to you, though. I'll just press the stop recording.
All right. See you all later. Bye.
Bye.